Well, I would prefer not to use a mic. Okay, am I audible, right? Okay, okay. First of all, thank you everyone for coming out on a Saturday morning. I am sure some of you have traveled from far away. Pune thoda bada ho gaya hai, time lagta hai idhar udhar jane. So thank you for coming out. First session would be about AI agents. We'll talk about how MCP tools and agent skills increase the capability of your AI agents, right? And I'll start with my introduction first. My name is Manish Lad. I work as an AI product manager at a company called Avalara. I've been working in the IT industry for more than 12 years now. I've been working with AI for more than 6 years. I've been working with AI even before ChatGPT LLMs was a hype, right? So I've been working since 2020. तो जो ट्रेडिशनल मशीन लर्निंग मॉडल्स थे वेर यू हैव टू ट्रेन द मॉडल सुपरवाइज लर्निंग अनसुपरवाइज लर्निंग आई बीन वर्किंग विथ AI since those time. So I have seen the journey and I have seen where we are, and I also know where would we reach with AI, right? So yeah, that's my experience with IT industry. With Pune User Group, I have been volunteering for more than 15 years now. When I was in my second year of engineering, I started volunteering with the Pune User Group in 2011, and since then I have been consistently been part of all the events that PUG has been organizing. Okay, and this is the first time I'm actually taking a session. So this is the first time I'm representing PUG as a speaker. So should be fun. Let's see. I also write a blog. I'll share the QR code at the end, but I also write a blog about AI and how product strategy works and how AI and product strategy can be linked together, right? So if you want to follow that, feel free to do that. It's free. It's a free blog. Okay, so let's start. First of all, I want to hear your views on what an AI agent is. What do you think an AI agent is? Is it a simple chatbot? Is it something else? Anything, whatever your views are. Don't worry if they're right or wrong. Just share what you know what an AI agent is, or what do you think an AI agent should be. Any thoughts? Yep.
It is something like it takes some of the decisions depend upon your context, whatever tools it available on, and according to your requirement, he will perform some of the actions by itself.
Okay. So it understands and takes actions. Okay. Anything else?
It also plan as what your commanded or given the instruction, can plan and execute that.
Okay. Plan and execute. Okay. Any other? Sorry? Anonymous version of a microservice. Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Yep.
You can infer some of the information from the data which is available.
Infer information from the data that is available. Okay. Okay. Anyone else?
Also it will give multiple options.
Multiple options to choose from. Okay. 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 So I will try to define an AI agent. This is a very high level, not a definition, but how an AI agent should be, right? So primarily, any AI agent would always have 5 different layers as part of it, right? The first layer is an LLM. So LLM is the AI model that you would be using. So this could be your GPT 5.5, Gemini 3.5, Claude Sonnet, Claude Opus, any AI model, or your own locally installed AI model as well, right? So it could be any LLM model that you want to use. So this LLM is the brain of your AI agent. This LLM decides how accurately, how good your AI agent would behave or give answers or infer data, stuff like that. So that is your brain of your AI agent, right? The second layer would be a memory. So memory could be just the context of the conversation that you are having with the AI agent, or it could be in terms of external knowledge base as well. So if you have your own set of documents on which you want the AI agent to find answers from and then tell the user, then that becomes your memory as well. So memory could be of different forms, and that becomes the second layer. Another layer is orchestration. So orchestration is the different things that the AI agent can do. So people said they plan stuff, they execute stuff, they take actions, they infer from data. So all of this is like orchestration. Do this, do this, do this, do this. So an AI agent has an orchestration layer as well. And then there are 2 other layers which we will talk about in details today. So one is the tools layer and one is the skills layer. So tools, in short, it defines what actions your AI agent can take, right? So just an LLM model, if you're talking to ChatGPT, it cannot talk to third-party systems, right? It can just give you answers from the questions you're asking, but if you ask it to connect to third-party system to take actions, it won't be able to do it unless you have connected it to the system. So that becomes the tools, and skills is telling the AI agent how it has to behave, right? So you try to give it some sort of instructions, guidelines that you have to do this when user is asking for this. Okay, so we'll go into details in layer 3 and 4 today. So let me start with a demo first. I will quickly shift to Claude Code. So I hope everyone is familiar with Claude as a AI tool, right? So same like ChatGPT, Anthropic company has their own AI tool called as Claude. And in Claude, then there are different sections of what you can do with it. Chat is basically same as ChatGPT. You go ask questions, it gives you replies, right? So normal conversation. Cowork is basically if you want to allow Claude to take actions on your device, you can allow Cowork to do that. For example, if your desktop has 10,000 files or folders as part of it, you can tell Cowork that go through all the files, organize them into such and such structure, and it will do it for you. So you don't have to manually open any of the folders. Don't have to move them manually. Cowork will take all of that decision for you and take the actions also. So that is Claude Cowork. And Claude Code is basically an IDE. So like your Codex from ChatGPT from OpenAI, like VS Code, right? So Anthropic also has their IDE, which is Claude Code, which we will be using today, right? So what I will do right now, this Claude is acting as an AI agent, right? Claude is an AI tool. It is acting as an AI agent. It has an LLM brain. So I've connected it to Sonnet 4.6. So this becomes your LLM. Okay. Now Claude as an AI tool already has taken care of memory, the context of the conversation that we'll be having, and it has also taken care of the orchestration. So what actions need to happen, all of that Claude takes care of. So you don't have to worry about that. The two things that you have to worry about is connecting to third-party systems and giving it some instructions on how to behave. Right, so that is what we will see today. So right now this is not connected to anything, it's just a plain AI model with an LLM, that's it, right? So what I will do, I'll quickly copy and prompt and give it. So what I have done for the demo is I have a PRD created in Confluence and I have a Jira project created, right? So I will quickly show you that as well. So on Confluence, this is one PRD that I have created. You can see it's like a basic template of what a PRD should look like, right? It has requirements, it has what is out of scope, what is the acceptance criteria, generally how a PRD looks like, right? And then I have a Jira board as well where tickets need to be created. Now I will not use any of these tabs on the browser. I will simply use Claude and I will ask it to take actions. That is what we are going to see in today's demo, right? So with the first prompt with nothing created, I'll just give it a prompt and let's see what it replies. Right. So as expected, because it is not connected to anything, it just replied that I don't have access to Confluence or Jira. You either give it to it manually and then I can try to give you the tickets, but you will have to create it manually. So this is what happens if you have not connected the AI agent to any third-party systems, any external systems. It will not take actions for you, right? So I'll switch back to the presentation again. So what did we just see? It cannot talk to third-party systems. So one way to solve that is you use traditional APIs, right? So all your SaaS models, all your SaaS platforms have APIs exposed. So you can manually map your AI agent to those APIs by writing code. But the problem with mapping with APIs is you need to map it to all the input parameters. You have to map it to the output parameters that you are getting from the response from the API, right? It is a manual process, and every time the API schema changes, you have to do the changes in your API mapping again. So that is why MCP was brought into the picture. So MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. This was launched by Anthropic as a protocol in 2024, right? So this was launched as an open standard for any AI agent. So it doesn't matter if you are using Anthropic's Claude, OpenAI's ChatGPT, or any other AI tool. MCP would work with all of them as long as the tool supports it, right? So it's an open protocol, and the way this is different from API is you don't have to map it to anything. AI agent or the LLM will automatically talk to the MCP server that has been built. It will understand what actions are supported through that MCP server. It will understand what is the input schema required and what is the output JSON that you get from that MCP server, and it maps everything automatically. You don't have to do it manually. So that's the advantage of using MCP servers over traditional APIs or any other traditional mapping system, right? So that is the basic idea concept of MCPs, right? And then there are some other things like runtime access. So whenever you tell the LLM or the AI tool that I want to perform this action, runtime it calls the MCP servers, it accesses the tools that are available, and in runtime only it performs all the actions for you. And then it is secured by design. So if I connect to an MCP server, or if you are building the MCP server, you can define which user has access to which tools, right? So if let's say Atlassian has a Confluence as a product, and in Confluence there are 100 different actions. Not all actions should be available to all the users, depending on which tier you have access to, what license you have. You can define that through MCP servers which actions can be supported, right? So that is how MCP basically performs. And this is like a technical architecture of how MCP is. So there are three components to MCP. There is a MCP host, there is a MCP client, and then there is a MCP server. So as developers, we will basically create the MCP servers, or as an organization, you are supposed to create MCP servers. So that is your responsibility. MCP host and MCP client are handled by the AI tool. So in today's demo, we are using Claude. So Claude as an AI application becomes the MCP host, and whenever it has to call an MCP server, it automatically creates an MCP client. So for MCP, for every MCP server it connects to, it creates one different client. So if Atlassian is one MCP server, if Notion is another MCP server, then two different clients will be created, right? And the AI application does it automatically on its own. You don't have to worry about that. Okay, so that is the basic architecture of how MCP works. Now let me go back again to Claude and we can proceed with the demo. Now what I will do, I'll connect this to an MCP server. So if you go to customize, if you go to connectors, Claude has a marketplace available where many SaaS companies have already listed their MCP servers, right? So I'll just click on browse connectors, and you can see all the possible connectors you can connect with. All of these companies have already listed their MCP servers here. Okay, so today, because we will be working with Atlassian, I will just click on Atlassian, and you can see here the different tools that are available through Atlassian, right? So get user info, get Confluence pages, get a specific page, get Jira issue. So it works with both Confluence and it works with Jira as well, right? So you don't have to connect. Exactly. Change of vocabulary, but change in how it works as well, because with APIs, as I said, you have to manually map things, and wherever API schema changes, you have to change at your end as well. But with MCP servers, you don't have to worry about that. Even if Atlassian goes ahead and creates version 2.2 of their MCP server with additional tools, you don't have to do any changes at your end. This MCP server, if it's already connected with my Claude, it will automatically read the new tools, right? So that's an advantage or differentiation between APIs and MCP tools. So all of these tools are available. If I just click on connect, it will take me to an authentication page. Obviously, it has to authenticate and look for my identity, whether I have access to Atlassian as a product or not, right? So because I'm already logged in, it was able to take my credentials. It will ask me which space I want to use, and it will show that these are the permissions you are granting. And if I click on accept, it will connect to it. Right, so this is how the authentication layer is taken care of, and it automatically comes back to Claude, and now it says it's connected, right? And once it's connected, you can see it added as the list of connectors in with Claude, and all of these tools that you just saw are now available here. And because MCP tools allows you to take actions, allowing AI to take actions, you can decide whether AI can automatically take the actions directly or whether it needs manual approval every time, right? So you can define this according to your use cases. Now, because for demo purposes, I am sure that it will not hamper anything, I have kept it always allowed. But there are different sections, right? So these are interactive tools, these are read-only tools where fetching is only possible. So you can keep this as always allow if you want, right? So this is how you connect to an MCP server through an AI tool. So this connection process is available on any IDE that you could use. It is available on VS Code, it is available on Cursor, it is available on Codex, even Anti-Gravity from Google. Any IDE that you use connecting to an MCP server will be available. The steps might be slightly different, but it's always available. Right now that we have connected to the MCP server, I will go back to the session again. I will add the same prompt, and let's see what happens now. So ideally, it should automatically detect that the MCP server is connected, which it did. It will load all the tools that are available, and you can see that I have not mentioned which PRD to refer to on Confluence. Right now, there is only one page. That's why it will automatically be able to figure out which PRD to refer to. But if you have multiple pages, you can give the name of the page as well. So it will try to find a specific page on Confluence. Right. So here, let me walk you through what is happening. First, it loaded all the MCP tools which are available. Then, because it knows that it has to search for a PRD in Confluence, it will search for PRDs. It will search for pages. It was able to find a PRD document available. So it will read the entire document. It is listing down all the steps that you are doing. Now it will try to find a Jira project. It found that there is a separate project under Jira, and then it will try to create the epics and stories and tasks, whatever. And at the bottom you can also see how many tokens are being used. So tokens is again important when you are using your AI tools. Yeah, tokens are also important when you are using AI tools, because with a paid subscription there is a limit on how many tokens you can consume, right? So if I want to give an example, if I click here, you can see that the context window for this conversation I have consumed this much tokens already through the messages that I have sent to the agent and the agent when it has responded, right? And every context window has a maximum limit. It is 200,000 tokens for Claude. Every model has its own different set of tokens. And there is again other limits that Claude has applied. There is a 5-hour limit and a weekly limit as well. So that is why taking care of tokens is also important. Okay, coming back to what it has done. So you can see that it has created 11 tickets in total. It has created one epic, it has created 5 stories and 5 tasks, right? If I go back to Jira, you can see all have been created here, right? So I did not log into Jira, it automatically created everything. If I open any of this is an epic, you can see it has added the description and everything. If I open any story, you can see that story has this kind of data as part of it. User story acceptance criteria epic. Okay, clear so far? Any queries related to MCP servers, how it works or what it can do? Yeah.
Who defines all these MCP tools? Is it a MCP provider who will define the tools?
Yeah, so you as a SaaS company, you yourself have to build MCP servers. So for now, Atlassian, because they have their own products, they will have to build their MCP tool, MCP server, and make it available on different AI marketplaces. So Atlassian created their own, Figma created their own, Notion created their own, Google created their own.
Let's say I have a database and I want to use some AI agent which will talk to the database through MCP server.
Mhm.
How I will decide that which MCP server I should use so that I will get the tools for that AI agentic AI management?
So it depends on where the database is hosted, right? Where it exists, on which, let's say, cloud platform. If it's on Azure, if it's on Google, it's on AWS, whether they have their MCP servers. If it's your own infra, then you have to create your own MCP servers and then give access to agent through it. So it depends on where that
Because that
tool is.
MCP server might be having those handlers and connectors, right?
Right.
Let's say I have a requirement that particular agent will talk to the database, but that particular connection or handler is not available in the available MCP server. So how that will work?
Then you, so if that MCP server doesn't support it as of now, then you will not be able to do it. You will have to create something on your own. Right, so if Atlassian, for example, does not have a tool for updating a Confluence page, then you will not be able to update a Confluence page through your AI agent. That tool, that action has to be supported through that MCP server. If you are building the MCP server, then you can decide which tools to support. If someone else is building it, they will have to take a call. Correct. So if that tool or action is not supported, either you do it the traditional API route or you have some, let's say RPA or some other mechanism to do it for you instead. Right, so the MCP server has to be available and the tools should be supported for you to take action. And who creates the MCP server? It's the product company whose product you want to talk to, right? If you want to talk to Atlassian, Atlassian has to build the MCP server. You cannot build it for Atlassian.
Maybe additionally we can request an enhancement.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, as a customer feedback, you can tell Atlassian, I want this tool because of this reason. But it up to them that whether they want to support that or not.
It's a protocol, right? So MCP is protocol. So we can write our own steps for it. We can write our own servers for it, for our products or our services. But if it is for Atlassian, let's say, they need to provide. If it is not part of that MCP server, then other ways like APIs or VS coding code, those will be there.
Like as a developer, let's say I am just end user for that MCP server. I just want to fetch some data, and that data handler should be there. Let's say I want to have some audio video data. But the existing MCP server don't have a handler to do that. It just support the textual data. In that case, I may not have the capability to do or develop a handler. In that case, I will have to choose the available MCP server to support that. Or otherwise, I will have to use API. Or otherwise, I will have to request for the enhancement.
Or yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you had a question.
Yeah, actually you answered that, but like
Correct. So whoever is building.
accuracy of that or like
Correct.
whatever.
Correct. So obviously, if Atlassian is building an MCP server, they will run a evaluation set on their end, right? So what are the likely prompts a user can give to access our MCP servers? For example, right now I said read the PRD and create Jira tickets. So this becomes one testing parameter for them. That if user is typing this, how does our MCP server respond? Does it give all the relevant parameters back as a response to the user or not? If not, then we'll have to change our MCP server. So all of that has been taken care by Atlassian or whoever is building the MCP server for you. So every tool that you see has a response JSON. You do not see it, but the AI agent sees it. And using the JSON response, then it takes all the actions.
It's just like kind of API only, but it's
Correct. You don't have to map it manually. Automatically, LLM does it for you. That's the major difference.
See, earlier it is actually we used to have libraries.
yeah.
And these companies, for stickiness of their products, they will provide their library so that you can integrate them. It's very similar to that actually. So now your AI agents can talk to their products, their services. To make that sticky, they will provide these MCP servers. So that is their kind of business strategy.
Correct. And
It makes developers like easy because the integration becomes easier.
right. And that is where the enterprise world is also heading. So the company that I work with, Avalara, we have tax compliance products, right? So all of them are SaaS products. But because we know the today's world, users, developers, partners, they spend most of their time on AI tools, right? So they use ChatGPT, they use Claude. They do not want to log into the SaaS products. So that is why we built our own MCP server so that any user who is using these AI tools can talk to our enterprise products without leaving the AI tool. They don't have to go to the browser, they don't have to log into the browser and go to our product and do some action. AI tool will do everything for you.
Your traditional UI will be replaced by these AI agents.
Correct. So, I mean, that's a separate discussion altogether, but in short, that is where the enterprise world is heading. You can implement agents in two different formats. Either in your own SaaS product, you have an AI agent. So when user logs into a SaaS product, you have a, let's say, a chat interface where user comes and says, I want to do this action, right? So for example, Atlassian has a AI agent called as Rovo. So if you tell Rovo, I want to do this, fetch this information, create this, update this, it can do it for you. So that is one way your traditional SaaS products are changing. How the UI of that SaaS product is changing. It's not manual, human-based, it's agent-based now or AI-based. And the second one is what we are seeing right now. User doesn't come to a SaaS product, it uses a AI tool and talks to a SaaS product through the AI tool only. So if the user is researching something, they stick on the AI tool, get everything, and whenever they decide that yes, I want this information updated somewhere, they just tell that update this on this MCP server or this tool. For example, I use Notion a lot, but I do not log into Notion anymore on a browser. I always use Claude. I do some research, and if I want that information updated on Notion, I just tell it that update this information on this page on Notion. Again, Notion I have connected as an MCP server on Claude, and that is why it is able to do everything. Right? So that is how the behavior, human behavior, is changing in today's MCP world or today's enterprise world. Yeah.
Very naive question. For example, you just gave an example of Notion.
Right.
You did some research and you updated Notion.
Right.
Let's say me. I was looking, we were discussed, I also went to get same information.
Mhm.
And I also went ahead and updated Notion.
Mhm.
So now, for almost every single piece of information, there are 2 or more versions available to Notion.
So are you saying we both have access to the same Notion workspace and same page, or two different?
If you have the same work, same workspace, what will happen is there will be always 2 versions of it, right? Because it's gone through my credentials.
Yeah, but
I had a somewhat similar way of writing.
correct.
Now there are 2 pieces of information.
But that's okay, right? Because even if we did not have MCPs, if both of us would have been manually using Notion to update some information, and due to some sheer coincidence we happen to update the same information, still the same 2 versions might exist on Notion as well, right?
The reason I pointed out that is that what advantage do I get if I went by AI?
So why do you use AI in today's world, right? Why do you use ChatGPT or Claude? Because it makes it easier to search for something, find answers, anything.
That's the easy part.
Correct.
Difficult part is when I summarize and consolidate because there are multiple people work on very similar.
Could happen, yeah. But then why is that a problem? I'm just trying to understand your point of view.
Because any other team member who comes and looks at it today or after some time
Mhm.
will now have to decide which of the two is useful. And this is a serious problem. This is serious
Okay.
problem. Not like just making it up. You gave example of Notion and just clicked on it.
Right.
But this is a serious problem in a lot of organizations.
Okay, so you are saying within an organization, if we both are working and we happen to update on Notion or any knowledge database, similar set of information.
Very simple example. Setting up RDS with Kafka connector.
Right.
A bit of research to update it.
Right.
I found the same thing. I also was looking at same thing from a slightly different angle, but I was also looking at how to do the SSL labels. I also found.
Right.
He comes now. He has two information because he has to know set that up. The platform engineer gets screwed.
Right. I mean, that's always possible, right? It's not just because of AI. It's like even if someone was doing manual research, they can still create those two similar versions.
Yes, I agree.
Right.
I completely agree with that. And that's the reason I'm putting out this question. That What advantage in this case did I get?
As a user, you're asking what advantage.
What advantage did I get? Or is it
So, correct. So obviously, as an organization, you have to set up some kind of roles and responsibilities, right? That two people should not be doing the same research on the same topic at the same time. Just an example, there has to be some guidelines or some set of rules that have to be defined. Otherwise, this could always happen, not just with AI tools, but otherwise as well. So there has to be some kind of rules defined on how a team behaves. There is always a possibility that could still happen, but that is not because of any AI tool. That is just because two humans are working on the same thing. AI tools just make it easier for you to do anything, for doing research or creating a summary or updating it somewhere. That's the advantage of doing it manually versus using an AI tool. Right?
because for example, look at Jira tickets. They're very much a lot of people are involved. Right?
Correct.
So to me, my experience has been different. Is that when you have non-overlapping, very much isolated tasks in which you have no critical paths, this kind of story works. Everywhere else, it's a train wreck.
This is a common problem. You are absolutely right.
But at a higher price point.
Yes, at a higher price point with the duplication of efforts, while we are optimizing the efforts actually. One of the important and simple solution for this is having a SOPs for it. So every organization need to have the SOPs for it, how to use the AI tools, and then try to avoid those kind of duplications. So maybe specifically Scrum Master or maybe somebody who is driving that project should set those SOPs at the start of the project. Maybe actually, I'm just thinking that. Okay. So, but those SOPs, at least that is a practical example that we have seen that has helped.
As of now, that's the only solution.
Yeah. As of now, that is the only.
That is
Maybe
as
tomorrow
of
they
now.
might.
I think AI governance comes into picture.
Yeah.
Right. So the not a problem, but the thing is because AI is evolving so fast, all the enterprise companies are trying to figure out how do we work with this, right? So this is one very critical problem that you pointed out. So companies experience this, then they're trying to find a solution around it because using AI tools is very new to everyone. So the executive leadership even don't know how do we manage everything till someone uses it and faces a problem, right? So even with IDs like tools like Cursor or Cloud Code or Codex, everyone thought 1 year ago that engineers will not exist, which actually is not happening, right? We still need engineers to review the code, to make changes and give prompts, for example, right? So enterprise companies are still figuring out how to work with AI, and that will still keep on evolving every year, every month. Right? Yeah. Any other query related to MCP? Yes.
So you have enabled few connectors in your ID, and based upon the prompt, so it is the responsibility of ID to figure out which connectors and which MCP tools they have to call.
Correct. So because Cloud Code or any AI tool has a LLM model, right? The LLM model acts as the brain. So this LLM model decides that depending on what user is asking, which connector do I talk to, right? So because in my prompt I said Confluence and Jira, it understood that I need to invoke the Atlas and MCP server. If I had said update a page in Notion, it will understand go to Notion, something like that. So depending on the prompt, the LLM model is able to figure out which MCP server I should call or invoke and which tool to use. So not just the MCP server, but the list of tools also. Because I said fetch a PID or read a PID, it knew I need to fetch some pages on a Confluence page. Then it talked to the MCP server, found out the entire list of tools available, and from that list, it figured out that I want to use this specific tool for fetching information from Confluence.
So all the description, whether it's a epic or the story, it's being provided by the LLM, and they call the tool in order to create those tools.
Can you repeat that question?
So based upon the PRD, so what are the descriptions that we see at the epic or the story level? So it is the being provided by the LLM.
This one. So this is coming from the PRD. So LLM, what it will do, first it will talk to the MCP server, find out the tool. It will go to the PRD. In the PRD, it will find out that for creating tickets, what information is needed, right? So for example, I have a user story section. From this, it found out that I need to create 5 different stories. Each story has some kind of information. So if you see as a project manager, I want to search something, and if I go to the same ticket here, it has copy pasted the same user story here. Even the acceptance criteria it took from the PID. So if information is available in your PID, it will do that. If not, then it will try to generate something, because it is an LLM model, it has that capability to generate text for you, it will do that. So even this name has come either from a combination of this and LLM's own brain, what name should be given here, right? Yeah. Any other query? Yes.
Let's say, for example, right now I'm passing this documentation, with this LLM, and we are also using the MCP servers, right? So when I pass that document, exactly where my data has been shared, will it only with Anthropic, or will it with MCP, whatever MCP server I'm using? So as a data security point of view.
It would be both, right? Because you're talking to Atlassian MCP, obviously Confluence or Jira would have that information. So Atlassian would have that information with them because you are using their products, you have signed up for it, right? And Claude will also have, because obviously whenever you talk to an AI agent, all the prompts or messages that you have, it's part of their license agreement that we will use all the data, right? So that's why it's important that you do not share any credentials or keys in your AI tools. Always create a .env file, have those environment variables, and put all the credentials there, right? AI agent cannot read that, or the IDs cannot read that.
So by any chance, do we have any certain protocols that we have to restrict? For example, I have the documentation, and I'll just guide that AI agent that don't use my username, don't PI detection.
Yeah, so you can do that, but the thing is, because AI agent will still read the entire PID, right? It has to find out kahan pe hai username. It will still have access to it, even though it will not fetch it to its interface. It will not go to Claude because it's not part of the conversation history. But as access point of view, it will still be able to read it if it wants, right? So that is why if you are using Claude, Cowork, or any other similar tool, it is recommended not to give it access to banking websites, right? Because you do not know what kind of actions it will take or what information it is saving. So any sensitive portals do not allow it to log in, right? So some measures have to be taken from our side as well as users. We cannot just tell that Claude should not do this. We as users should be responsible for that, what we are giving access to it, right?
This is the biggest concern that enterprises have. Because you never know like what data is shared publicly hosted and that's where the governance comes in. It has to be like super well defined, anonymized, maybe encrypted in sometimes. And most importantly, any sensitive data should not be shared. And at least at this point in time, maybe tomorrow there might be some solutions which might come in, which might help us to like do that with confidence that actually the sensitive data is not.
And special.
Some of the enterprises they are having their own LLMs hosted locally, but that needs a lot of cost.
Right. Yeah, so with AI products, there is something called as guardrails, right? So whenever an enterprise company is creating an AI product, they have to follow a certain guardrail. For example, my organization, because we are dealing with tax compliance, so we read customers' transactions directly. We know their vendor's name, all the sensitive information. So that is why the AI products that we build, the LLMs for that are hosted on our own infra. So any data, any conversation user has with our LLM models or AI models stays within Avalara. It never goes to Anthropic or ChatGPT or any other company, right? So primarily yes, but because we are a tax compliance company, because of DR reasons, we have all three clouds with us. So GCP and Azure are also part of that. No, we are not on-prem. No. But that is another option. If you want to explore that, that is also possible. Even the LLM models, open source, if you want, you can host it on your own infra and use that. So no company will ever get that data. That is another option. Yeah. You had a query.
How does bigger enterprise control this, like not sending the data to LLMs?
So what I am using with Claude is a personal tier, right? It's my own personal tier. Enterprises have an enterprise license agreement with all of these subscribers and with the cloud infra as well, right? So not just with AI tools, previously also any customer information that's available on our products cannot leave our cloud infra. That's a license agreement enterprises have with third-party vendors, whether it's just cloud infra or any other vendor who's accessing our customer information.
Again, it's about area of AI governance. And suppose you would have some NDC document and something like that. Then if you have not defined that NDC, it will go to the AI server. But if you have defined it, then it will block your request as
Right.
Because at enterprise level, they say like LLM is not using your data to train.
Correct, because that's a license agreement. For example, in our organization, we have ChatGPT license given to all employees. So we can use it to do anything, right? Create PRDs, create Jira tickets, whatever, any research that you want to do. Now, because Avalara as an organization has a license, enterprise license agreement with OpenAI as an organization, we know that our data will never go to OpenAI. That's part of the license agreement. They cannot access whatever conversations we as an employee of Avalara as an organization are doing with ChatGPT. And when we are using it, it comes at the bottom as well that OpenAI never uses the data that you are using here. So that's a separate tier of enterprise licensing. Yeah. Yep.
So, this is for my personal skills. I will not name details, but equal specifically, if you're using VS Code and using GitHub Copilot, it internally exposes 17 URLs outside the network. So, it is your responsibility. And if you're using Codex at the backend, open 17 URLs. You have to evaluate those URLs and then go and block it into your Zscaler or something. Otherwise, for every call you make, I'm talking only specific code, I know other things I'm not going to mention. It sends 140 bytes per request that you make. 140 bytes.
Even if you have the enterprise.
Sir, I'm only talking about an organization which has a $10 million license. I'm not talking about some personal. And in this organization, ChatGPT is blocked. So every time you make a request, say something, refactor it, then you just take that thing, 140 bytes will goes. This is the reality. 140 bytes multiplied by 10 times, now you have 1400 bytes. But that's from a developer, and we have, this code is sensitive to a bank.
Thanks. Right. Yep. Okay. Moving on. So yeah, if we look at the tickets that are created here, it has taken information from the PRD, right? But it's generic. You have not defined what kind of description you want in what format you want, right? If you, as an organization, have a specific, let's say, template that you have to follow, that your description of a Jira ticket has to have all of these sections, right? So how do we tell an AI agent to do that? It has now the capability to create the tickets, but how do we tell it that use this specific template while you are creating the tickets, right? So that is where skills come into the picture. So I'll just switch to my presentation again. So yeah, we just saw this, what MCP just did. It read the PRD, it understood the stories and requirements from the document, and it created the Jira tickets accordingly. But the tickets were generic, as I pointed out. They did not have a specific template. And that is where agent skills come into the picture, right? So if MCP is, let's compare it to a human body, right? So LLMs are the brain. MCP servers are your eyes and hands. You are giving your AI agent the capability to do some actions, right? But how to perform that actions? For example, if you are cooking something, if you want to follow a specific recipe which is only known to you or your family, it's like a domain expertise for that recipe, right? So you can compare that to an agent skill. So agent skill is like a set of instructions, steps or guidelines which gives domain expertise to your AI agent. That you have to do this, always follow this set of instructions. You don't have to tell it again and again. So every time I am asking it to create a Jira ticket, I don't have to paste the template that follow this template. I will just create a skill.md file, which is basically the agent skills, give it to the agent, and every time it is creating a ticket, it will always refer to that skill.md file, follow whatever instructions are mentioned in that file, and do it accordingly, right? So that is the basic idea of agent skills, giving it expertise on something, okay? So how does agent use a skill.md file? Whenever you start a new session, right? So when I say session, it's a new conversation. The first thing it does is what skills are available to me, and whatever user is asking, whether it needs to use any of those skills that are defined, right? And if it is needed, then it will load the skills and it will read the content of that skill. It will then try to map it to the action that it has to take, and then take actions after the skill is applied, right? So this is the difference with having a skill and not having a skill, okay? Any confusion here before I move forward? Clear? Okay. So what skill.md file I have created for this demo, I have given it format, that this should be the title of the ticket, this should be the format, this should be the story points. If it's a ML or AI work, always give it 8 story points. If it's UI work, give it 5. and never assign 13 or more than 13. If it's 13, always break it down into lower stories and then assign story points. Right? So this becomes an instruction. Every time I'm asking it to create a story, I don't have to tell the agent again and again. It will always follow this every time. Again, add some labels. There is some instruction here given for acceptance criteria as well, right? And I will switch to Claude Code again. Again, I go to customize, and like connectors, there is a skill section here as well. I can go and add a new skill. There are again skills available, or you can create your own skills. Now for creating skills also, anyone can create skill. Creating skill is a free thing. It's not complicated as MCP server. Anyone can create a .md file, give it a name, and upload it on any IDE, right? So if you want to learn how skills work, this is the simplest thing. You can create a .md file, add your instructions in Markdown format, upload it, right? Or you can ask your AI tools to create the skill file for you. Okay, so every IDE, every AI tool has that capability if it supports skills, right? So if you tell Claude that I want to create a new skill which does this, Claude will create it for you and add it to the list of skills that are already present here, right? So that's another possibility. Or you can upload a skill file if it's already there. So because I already have a file, I will just take that skill, this .md file, and upload it here. I'll also show you what that skill.md file has. So this is the file that got uploaded, and this is the name of the skill. This is the description. Now any skill.md file has a format that needs to be followed, right? So mandatory, there are two fields that are needed. One is the name of the skill, and second is the description of the skill. Okay. Now description is important because in description you define when the AI agent should call this skill, right? So for example, in our demo, because I said create tickets, and because it's mentioned in the description here, it knows that this skill has to be called, right? So that is why defining a description for a skill is mandatory and it's important. If you have defined it correctly, only then your skill file will be called, or your agent will call the skill. Okay. And then there is the body. So in body you can define the set of instructions, the sections, or whatever you want, right? So that is up to you. So what I have done here is I have set the purpose, what are the different type of tickets that should be created, the format and description and everything. So I have given it a template that it needs to follow. Okay. So if you see here description format, there are 5 sections here. There should be a user story, there should be a background, there should be requirements, acceptance criteria, dependencies, and definition of done, right? So every time Claude will now create a ticket, it will always follow this description, this template while creating the description, okay? And we will see that through the demo also, right? So now this skill is loaded. I will go back to Claude Code. Now, as I mentioned earlier, skill is invoked every time a new session starts. So if I give the same prompt in this session, it won't work because skill will not be called because it's already in progress. So that is why I have to start a new session. Okay. So I'll just copy the same prompt. I'll start a new session and I will paste it. Right. Now the difference you can see, the first thing it did was calling the skill file. Right. So because it knew that I have to create the Jira ticket, it should invoke that skill file. So that's the first thing it did, right? So it called the skill file, it read through all the instructions, and then now it is using the MCP server to talk to the Confluence. It will fetch the PID, then it will talk to Jira and create all the tickets. So the difference in how the tickets are created would be dependent on how you have defined it in the skills, right? So let us give some time for it to create everything. And another major difference between using a MCP and a skill is how much tokens it consumes. MCP servers are always loaded into the context of your session. So if I have 2 MCP servers, that much tokens are already consumed by my agent context window. And you can see it here as well. Okay, yeah. So if I expand this, you can see MCP tools, there is 4K and there is 55K because I have 4 MCP servers already connected. So all 4 have been added in the context of this agent, even if it doesn't have to use any of those MCP servers, right? So 55,000 tokens are already consumed by my MCP servers. And if I look at skills, it is only consuming 2.3K. So see the difference in the number of tokens that are being consumed by both of them. Again, so it was able to fetch the PRD, it is now creating the tickets in parallel. Yeah, till the time this is happening, any queries, any questions? Yep.
The skills are loaded at the start of a new session, right?
Yep.
So they must live in a context or context window.
Yep.
What if the context window shifts?
So it doesn't stay with the context of the window. The thing is, whenever you start a new session, depending on what prompt you are giving, the agent will decide whether I have to invoke the skill or not. So it doesn't preload all the skills into your context window. It, depending on the prompt, it goes through the skill, decides which skills is needed, if it is needed, and then brings it to the context.
So with each prompt, does it search the
Yeah.
skills? So the tokens are
Sorry?
the tokens must be configured with each prompt.
It will, yeah. It will change depending on how many skills or how many times the skill is being called.
Context is with repository when it comes to the skills. About the skill file. So whatever the skills you have mentioned in the repository, it will reload those skills.
Each organization, it should
If you have two different repositories, it will not move and cross. Because it will not repository. I have written a skill for 85 in one repository and PS2 or something like that, or giving this context. It will do all that locations that you have the skill.
No, I'm talking about the general. Consider a tag. So tag the cloud. Tag whenever you want the skill.
Actually, it's both actually. So when you are doing the coding, actually in the repository, you will have the context of that. But at the same time, the conversation that you are having, the prompt that you are doing, you carry that context as well. So maybe sometime back, actually, you are given some instructions. It needs that context. It will bring that context as well. So it's both actually, conversation as well as your repository. And that is another area where the tokens are usually used actually. So there is one company which is here in Pune. They are working how to reduce that this mainly context which is there, right? How to utilize that in an effective way so that the tokens are not just consumed for context situations. So maybe sometime we will discuss that.
Yeah, right.
Some session on that. That's very interesting. That is, they are doing it at a storage level. So you don't need to like load the context again and again unnecessarily. With storage itself actually, it's TensorMain. TensorMain.ai.
So my question is, with each prompt, does it search the whole skills?
It has to, right? Because for now, I gave it a prompt to create a ticket, but another prompt should be something else. Would be something else which requires some other skill. Then it has to use some other skill, right?
Is it a vector search or something can be implemented on that if we want to reduce tokens?
Vector search for what?
Skills for finding similar skills.
So, so you cannot change how a AI tool is calling the skills, right? You can create your own. Yeah, yeah. Right. Okay. So it has created all the tickets. I will go to Jira again. If I close this, yeah. So you can see all of these tickets have been created. You can, if I go to Claude, yeah. So from 98 till 104. So these two tasks have been created. This is a technical task, and you can see the description format. It has a user story, background, requirements, acceptance criteria, dependencies, definition of them. So this was the same format that we defined in the skill.md file, that same template. And you can also see it has gone ahead and created the linkage between tickets as well, that this ticket blocks some other ticket because we have defined it in the skill.md file. We have a dependency section there, and it has gone ahead and done that. You can see the story point is also added here, depending on how it sees this, how much time it will take. If I go to some other thing, so this is a story, not a task. Again, it has followed the same template. It has linked it to other tickets as well, that this blocks this 4 stories and this is blocked by some other ticket, right? And again, there is some story estimate already added, right? So this is how skill.md file gives some domain expertise to your agent to perform actions with a specific set of instructions or guidelines, right? If I go back to the presentation. So yeah, so this is what the skill just did, right? So it followed a structure that we had defined in the .md file, and that .md file is a free documentation, right? You can type whatever you want in that, whatever guidelines you want to give. Then how do you decide which to use when, right? Between MCPs and skills. So when you want your agent to perform some actions with external systems, that is where your MCP servers and tools come into the picture. But if you want to give your AI agent some expertise, some guidelines, some steps, some instructions, you use the skill.md file. So it is not necessary that both have to be used together. You can use either of them as well. You can just use MCP without the skill. You can use the skill without the MCP as well, right? So even your normal conversation, if you're not connecting it to an MCP, but you want some sort of instruction that the agent always has to follow, you can still create a skill.md file and give those instructions to the AI agent so that it follows it. Okay. Yeah, and to sum it up, yeah, like I said, if you want the agent to do something, you need MCP. If your agent is doing it badly, then you create a skill.md file so that you can give it some instruction that it can follow. And if both of them, then you can create both of them. And this is the last slide. 3 things for you to take home. MCPs and agent skills are 2 very different layers. Both of them have 2 very different uses requirements, right? So depending on your use case, you will have to analyze and decide whether you want an MCP server or you want an agent skill to be used, right? And obviously, while using it, you will diagnose the issues that you're feeling, and then you will decide whether to use MCP or the skills. And like I said, skills is a free file that you can create. So if you don't know how skills work or how MCPs work, I'll recommend starting with skills. Just create a .md file, try to give it to your agent, and see whether it performs better with it or not, right? Yeah, so if you want to connect with me, as I said, I write a blog on Substack. You can follow me there. I have a LinkedIn account, and you can scan the QR code for all of these links. So my LinkedIn URL, my Substack URL, and other URLs are also mentioned there. That's all from my side. If we do not have time, we can take the questions offline, if any. But if there are any questions, I can take 1 or 2. I think we're already over time. No? Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for your time and listening to me. We do have the next speaker, Bhushan. Is there? Okay.